The Golden State Warriors are one of 7 teams who are currently interested in acquiring Kyle Kuzma. So we're going to talk about that. And Lou Williams has some comments about Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma and their long-term fit in DC. And then we're going to do a preview for tomorrow night's game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Come on now, rock with your boy. Next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On Wizards daily newsletter, a one-stop shop for the ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Wizards newsletter. Tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, everybody, a lot to talk about tonight. Like I said, the Golden State Warriors are very, very interested in acquiring Kyle Kuzma. They are monitoring his situation here in the nation's cap, but they're not the only one. No, sir. They are one of 7 prospective teams who could be interested in acquiring Kyle Kuzma before or at the trade deadline. So we're going to talk about that. And Lemon Pepper Lou himself has some things to say about Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. So we're going to go over that and see if we disagree or agree with his assessment. And then we're going to get into a preview for tomorrow night's game in Cleveland against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who just knocked off the Boston Celtics. So that kind of tells you where we're headed at. It's going to be a long night, but hey, we're going to talk about it. So let's get into it. First things first, guys, Kyle Kuzma. All right, so this report came from per Mike A. Scotto. And then NBA Central on X actually put the news out there. So it's actually per Mike Scotto, but it was put out by NBA Central. So shout out to NBA Central for putting a lot of your up-to-date news with the NBA. So it says the Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, Milwaukee Bucks, Golden State Warriors, and Cleveland Cavaliers are among the teams monitoring Kyle Kuzma, per Mike A. Scotto. The Dallas Mavericks nearly traded for Kyle Kuzma last season before pivoting to acquiring P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford. The Indiana Pacers were interested in Kuzma before swinging a blockbuster trade to acquire Pascal Siakam. The Sacramento Kings have also been linked to Kuzma for the past 2 seasons. Other teams who kept tabs on Kuzma include the Bucks, Warriors, Lakers, Heat, and Cavaliers. Hoops Hype has learned. So obviously you see also via Hoops Hype, definitely a good source for any up-to-date information on the National Basketball Association. So, and there was also another report that said that, look, the Golden State Warriors are monitoring what is going on in DC with Kyle Kuzma and could be very, very interested in acquiring his services. So, you guys know me. The first name that comes to mind in a prospective trade with the Golden State Warriors is you ask for Moses Moody or Jonathan Kuminga. I think Jonathan Kuminga could be the long-term answer at power forward. You know, you flip one power forward out for the next, put him right next to Alex Sarr and Bilal Coulibaly, and then you go into this draft. Obviously, things could change. You could push guys here and there if we're in a position with the number 1 pick to get Cooper Flag, who chances are is going to play the 4. So you could slide Kuminga to the 3, and you got a lot of capabilities. But like I said, the biggest thing with Kuminga, obviously, the contract. You know, you have to sign him to a long-term deal. He thinks he's worth a max. I don't think he's worth a max. I don't think many GMs in the NBA do believe he's worth a max. I think if he humbles himself and brings the asking price down, there could be a contract extension that could be made. But that's the one big hiccup with Kuminga. Moses Moody is a guy who can play the 2 and play the 3, another defensive-minded player who can definitely stretch the floor from 3-point range. So to me, Golden State is very intriguing. But let's take a look at all these teams real quick and where he can fit, because obviously the asking price last season for Kyle Kuzma was 2 first-round picks. Now, I do not believe that is going to be met. I think that you could be looking at a first-round pick and a young player, or a expiring deal in return. I think that you can definitely get assets in return for Kyle Kuzma, but it's not going to be 2 first-round picks. So, again, looking at the teams real quick, best fits, obviously the Lakers would be a fit. They're interested in Jonas Valanciunas. Who knows? They could be interested in Malcolm Brogdon. But Kyle Kuzma is a guy who's been linked to them. Lakers are a team that's trying to challenge in the Western Conference. So, look, they could definitely – you could probably see, a deal where Kyle Kuzma and Jonas Valanciunas could be moved to the Lakers. And like I said, I'm gonna within the next couple of weeks, especially hitting towards once we get closer to the deadline, I'm gonna look at every one of these teams, and every episode for the next 2 weeks, we're gonna do a trade of the day, right? So we're gonna try to do a one trade of the day and see what you guys think. So Miami Heat, like I said, we went on that before. I think he could definitely work in the Heat culture. I think he could be a good asset for the Miami Heat. Bringing the scoring punch off the bench or in the starting lineup if that's where they deem him to fit. Milwaukee is an intriguing setup. You know, they said they have Dame, they have Jonas Valanciunas. Could he use another guy like Kuz? Absolutely, absolutely, because they're a team where look the window. There's a couple of windows that are actually shrinking in Milwaukee, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo, how long is he going to stick it out in Milwaukee and the championship window? You know, with Chris Middleton, and that would be another reason why you maybe want to acquire a Kyle Kuzma because Chris Middleton is not the same guy. Dame Lillard is definitely that monster on the perimeter, but they definitely need some more scoring to accompany Giannis, Dame Lillard, and you know, in the cetera because King Taurean Prince really be that guy to step up. You know, the list goes on. I think he can definitely use another score. So you know, Dallas, right at this point, I don't see it. I think there's a low likelihood he goes to Dallas. Cleveland is another team where, look, they are the best team in the Eastern Conference. So could he take a guy like Cruz? Absolutely, especially going to, you know, if they want to make a deep run in the playoffs, you know, adding a 20 points a night score like Kyle Kuzma, if you want to go up against the Boston Celtics, couldn't hurt them. But like I said, look at other teams, you know, Dallas, I don't think is a low chance he goes to Dallas. Indiana's a team that you get definitely take an eye on, you know, keep an eye on. I know that you have the young players there that we could utilize. Jarris Walker was, you know, we actually technically drafted him. He's a guy that's been floated out there. The Kings, we'll see with Keegan Murray at the 4, and with, you know, the lineup situation over there. If Kuz would be willing to, because I know they're going to talk to him about the trade. We know that from last year. If he's willing to take a bench role in Sacramento, that could still be an option. But to me, the most likelihood, to me, if you're looking at the best situation to get assets in return, and realistically, you know, getting some decent assets in return and getting a decent package, the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors are my top 2 picks, to be honest with you. And the reason for that is because with the Lakers, I do see the Lakers being very hesitant to move on from a first round pick just with Jonas Valanciunas. You know, I think with Valanciunas, I think he's more, you're looking at a value of a couple second round picks and maybe a young player in return. But if you add a package of Jonas Valanciunas, which gives them that center that they need in LA and another score in Kyle Kuzma, you could very well get that first round pick, second round picks, and, you know, Gabe Vincent. And you're probably looking at a couple more players where, you know, look, Jalen Hood-Schifino is a player that we've talked about time and time again. And you know, Gabe Vincent is definitely a guy for salary purposes, could be a guy thrown in there. So and then looking at the other fit to me, Golden State, I think Golden State's a good spot, man. I think that would be a good trade partner because, again, you know, they have not come to an agreement on a contract extension with Kuminga. And you add, and I'm telling you guys, man, I'm very high on Kuminga. Now, it's not to say that he doesn't have the areas that he needs to work on his game. He's still a young player. But if you could be realistic with a contract extension or signing him to a long-term deal, maybe you explore that because he's a young player who can defend. He can defend multiple positions. You know, his wing, you know, his width, his size. I mean, pause. But you know, his ability to defend in multiple positions and the fact that his offense is starting to ramp up. And yes, his type is taking a slight dip this year, but I think a lot of that has to do with being in and out of the rotation and not having consistent minutes in Golden State. So, like I said, Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga would be a package I would love in DC. Now, you're probably not going to get both of them, not for Kyle Kuzma. Now, if you flip not only Kuz, but Corey Kispert to go and say, maybe, you know, we utilize some of these second round picks, you know, be crafty about it, but maybe you could get Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga. I think that accelerates your rebuild. Now, realistically, would Golden State want to part ways with both of them? I don't see that happening. I mean, to give up 2 young talents for, you know, Kispert has his value as a shooter. You know, they always need shooters around Steph Curry, man. Like I said, they got Buddy Hield, he's done well replacing Klay Thompson. But to me, you have to look at it from every angle, right? And Golden State may not want to just give away their young talent because sooner or later, Stephen Curry is going to retire. You know, they want him to keep playing, but he's getting up there in age, man. And I think that, you know, I mean, no, I've had a few ideas for the Warriors. Like if I'm the Warriors, eventually maybe you want to flip Steph to Charlotte for him to go back home for the later stages of his career. Maybe you bring on LaMelo Ball, who's playing high level basketball in Charlotte. So, but then again, why would Charlotte give up a young talent? So a lot of questions, right? I mean, Golden State, why would they give up young talent? too young. I mean, I believe they could part ways with Moses Moody or Jonathan Kuminga in a prospective trade with Kyle Kuzma, but they're not going to get rid of both. So to me, those are the two best destinations because, Cleveland, we'll see. Like I said, I'm going to get in depth with the pick situation with a lot of these teams, but, we'll see on Cleveland. Miami Heat, I think that he could fit there as far as his personal fit. Now, what kind of package could you really realistically expect in return? Are they willing to part ways with Nikola Jovic? That's the question. I mean, if in the Kyle Kuzma move, you definitely ask for Nikola Jovic, man. So, like I said, guys, Indiana is another team that I think that if you're looking at the top three teams, to me, it would definitely be Golden State, LA, and then Indiana because look, Jarris Walker's a guy who can play. He's a young player who fits the timeline. So if you're intent on getting draft compensation or young players in return for these, Kyle Kuzma, Malcolm Brogdon, and Jonas Valanciunas, look, Jarris Walker would fit. He'd be a nice long-term piece that wouldn't necessarily need to be the star of the show. He can play on the second unit. He can start need be. I think we have a lot more capabilities. So like I said, you guys get in the comment section, definitely let me know what you guys are thinking because I think that, look, once we're a 2-16 right now. So Will Dawkins is looking to start flipping these bets because he knows that you've got to start this youth movement at some point. And the second half of the season is going to be exclusively a youth movement in the nation's capital. But for right now, you got to find the right deals to get the maximum value. And I definitely think that Will Dawkins is going to do that. He's shown that he's done a good job. He's had hiccups here and there, yes, but overall, he's done a good job, in my opinion, a very good job here in the nation's cap. And to me, he's already done a better job than Ernie Grunfeld and Tommy Shepard. Now, like I said, has he had hiccups? Yeah, you can look at Tyus Jones, you look at KP, you can look at maybe the Denny trade. Even though Bub Carrington is not, I definitely think it was a really good return in that trade, man. Like I said, I think that a lot more pros and cons, a lot more wins and losses when it comes to really looking at the early tenure of Will Dawkins here in DC. So again, you guys get in the comment section. Let me know what you think. What team do you see as the best fit for Kuz? Because we're starting to ramp up trade talk. The hot stove season, like that's a term in baseball, but for a lot of your bigger moves in the off season or at the trade deadline. But the hot stove season is starting to cook up, man. And you're going to see our veterans there's a lot of interest in Jonas Valanciunas. A lot of interest. Malcolm Brogdon's been playing really good basketball, so I definitely expect them to get a return back for him. So we're in a good position. We're going to start flipping these vets, and then we're going to start giving an exclusive look to these young guys. So, definitely keep the faith, guys. The youth movement is going to start, and we're going to start really officially kicking off this rebuild. And like I said, if Will Dawkins is crafty, especially in the trade deadline and in next year's offseason, and especially in next year's draft, this rebuild does not have to take forever. It does not have to take forever. All right, so guys, Lemon Pepper Lou. Yes, Lou Williams himself has some choice words to say about Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma and what the long-term fit is in DC. We're going to take a look at his comments and whether we agree or disagree. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. So you guys know me, man. I say it all the time that if you need somebody to talk to, if you're going through something, you can't fight it alone, man. Sometimes you need an ear. You need somebody to listen to you, And I think that BetterHelp is definitely your go-to source for you to get started talking to a therapist. Because, look, if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. All right. So one thing kind of think about, guys, when it comes to counseling, it's the holidays. So, the holidays, especially when, it's colder, is darker, longer. It is a big time when a lot of people get depressed, especially with people that are going through stuff with family. So look, if you need somebody to talk to, please, 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 please give BetterHelp a try. All right, because we all need some help, especially during the holidays, which can be hard for people. So, like I said, find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, everybody, let's get back into this thing. Lemon Pepper Lou, that's right. The sixth man extraordinaire was on the Running Back podcast. And he said this. He said, quote unquote, Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma are better off being second and third options somewhere else. Very talented guys, but they're not ready to lead an organization, and it shows in the play. So, do you agree with Lemon Pepper Lou? All right, so let me start this thing off. I agree and disagree. I will say this. Now, Kyle Kuzma, yes, he has struggled as of late. Now, when you compare his stats to his previous seasons, he has struggled. There has been bad body language this season. There's been issues, in X and all these different things in the offseason. But you can't take away from what he's done in DC. He's been a guy who has produced on the court. Now, does he fit the Wizards and what they're trying to do right now? It's becoming less and less likely that he does. And it's nothing against because he came here, no locker room issues, no scandal off the court. He hasn't been in no legal trouble. So, this is a guy who showed up to play. Like I said, this season has been tough. He's dealing with injuries. A lot of the fan base been getting on him, whether it has to do with him going back and forth with fans, and Twitter, which I'm not sure about that. I don't get into all that, but it hasn't been the best year for him in as far as just looking at the writing on the wall and what the direction of the team is. Okay, but he has been a leader here in DC, in years past. Rough season, but you can't take away what he's done the previous season, especially off the court. Not only is he active in Washington D.C. proper, Commonwealth of Virginia, be more. But he's a guy who definitely gets back to his hometown of Flint, Michigan. He is a Flintstone. So, like I said, he's a guy who you look at his tenure here in DC. The writing was on the wall towards at this point with his contract and his fit here in DC long term. But he's a guy who showed up to play. He's a guy who, for a while, definitely embraced what the team was doing. Now, is he still embracing? I think he does know that the writing's on the wall. I think he does know that his tenure here is coming to an end. And but again, thank you for your service. But I agree that this year has not been the best example as far as leadership. Bad body language. I think the losing has taken an impact on him amongst other people, especially the vets. Because look, it's human nature to want to win. You want to win. It's very rare that people strive to lose. It's in our nature. We want to win. We want to be the best. And when you're a guy who is in his prime, Kyle Kuzma is definitely in his prime. Being on a team that is 2-16, look, we all know it can be hard to do. So I think that he knows that his services can probably be utilized better somewhere else. So I'm not, I'm definitely a fan of his game. Like I said, I definitely appreciate what he's done on the court and off the court here in DC. Bad body language this season. You can't take away from a lot of things that rub people the wrong way this year. The bad body language, him not really being locked in, maybe being out of shape. But I think, I think a lot of the out of shape questions comes with him gaining muscle in all season. Especially when you look at the fact that he's attacking the paint a lot more. But from a leadership standpoint, he has not been that guy, and he's been replaced by Jordan Poole. This is where I disagree with the comments. I think that Jordan Poole has shown that he can be a leader. He's shown that. He's been the guy who's been very active in the locker room. He's taken players like Bilal Coulibaly under his wing. When Bilal got drafted and traded to DC, the first phone call was Jordan Poole. I think from early on, he showed the leadership capability. Now, obviously, he came to a situation where Kyle Kuzma was here longer. He had the voice of the locker room at that point, but I think it is now Jordan Poole's locker room. And I think that he has shown that he not only is he capable of leading his team, he's capable of being the voice of the locker room. Look, he has a championship, experience. Now, the one ring with Golden State, same as Kuz with the championship with the Lakers. So he does bring some championship pedigree here. If we're looking at having an established star, an established veteran, you got to look at Jordan Poole, in my opinion. Now, I say it all the time. You guys know me. I look at every perspective, every angle. And, obviously, could you look at a scenario where they can move him? Absolutely. I think anybody, outside of your hardcore poolies, man, who you don't even want to hear it. But I think that anybody who's, knows the business of the NBA knows that is there likelihood they could move him at some point? Absolutely. But for the next 2 to 3 years, you give him the keys. You give him the locker room and you go from there because we have a lot of young talent. I think it's, I made it known before 2-3 videos, man. I made it know that it is time to give him the keys to the team. And it is time to, like I said, not only move on from a lot of these vets, but let Jordan Poole and Bilal Coulibaly be that 1-2 punch in the second half of the season and going forward. Obviously, so like I said, guys, that's where my head is at. I think that I disagree with Jordan Poole not being a leadership or not being a leader and not displaying leadership because I think he has here in DC. He's taken, like I said, a couple young players under the wing. He's hosting workouts in the off season. He's a guy who, you lead by example, right? So he put the work in the off season. So yes, he caught a lot of flack last season. Up and down season. He struggled in the first half. He did well in 6-man role, and when he started in the place of Tyus Jones, he did a good job to the point where he is now the guy. So give him the keys. It's time to give him the keys for at least the next 2-3 years, and then at that point, that's where you make those hard decisions. So that's where my head is at. I think that you give Jordan Poole the keys, because he's earned the right to be the leader in the locker room, because he has been the leader. Yes, you can definitely say that Kyle Kuzma has taken a step back from being that voice. And I think a lot of it has to do with he knows that he's going to be moved at some point. So I guess he looks at it like, what's the point? I'm not going to be here long enough to really continue to establish myself as a leader in the locker room. So I think that the torch has been handed over. I think the keys have been handed over. I think that it is Jordan Poole's team. And I think that he has the ear of the locker room, because you see more and more that these young guys are really responding to not only to him, but, head coach Brian Keefe. I know he's been catching a little flack lately. I think it's way too early to judge him, but that's another subject for another day. So looking at Lemon Pepper Lou, with the comments, I agree, but I disagree. I definitely disagree on Jordan Poole. I think he's definitely exhibited a high level of leadership here, working with the young guys and definitely using his experience that he got from playing behind vets like Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson. Look, you don't play with guys like that and don't learn nothing. So he definitely absorbed a lot of knowledge from all three of these gentlemen from Golden State. And you can argue the same thing with Kyle Kuzma. And the thing is, Kyle Kuzma has been that guy. But look, what's the one constant in this world? Change. So, look, things change. Like I said, we definitely want to appreciate Kuz for what he's done here at the Nation's Cap, but it is time. It is time to make that move, and it's time to formally give the team to Jordan Poole, at least for the next 2 to 3 years. And then after that, obviously, will be hard questions, especially when you look at salary. But like I said, he's a guy who is he's not even in his prime yet. He's pre-prime right now. He is still getting better. And if you're looking at, having a star involved with the organization, you already got that. Now, could we be subject to add another one down the line? Absolutely. And you could probably add one in the draft coming up, because if you're looking at having that, the prototypical big three, that's what I'm saying. You already got a young guy who's proven he can play at a high level in Jordan Poole on the roster. You still got the draft picks that not only can you acquire young talent in the draft, you can use those draft picks later to go acquire that big time move, right? And then look, this draft coming up, we are going to be in the top 3. So we're going to be able to draft a star. So you're going to have a homegrown drafted star, a star that we got via trade already on the roster, and the capabilities to draft picks to go get another star when it's time to make that one significant move for when we want to make a playoff push. So we're definitely heading in the right direction. I think that, slowly but surely, you're starting to see the roster really, you see who's going to be part of this team long term and who's not. And yes, there are question marks and gray area players, right? But I think the overall, they're going to move Jonas Valanciunas, they're going to move Malcolm Brogdon, and they're going to move Kyle Kuzma before or at the deadline. And you're going to see a very young team in the second half. So again, guys, get in the comment section and let me know what you guys are thinking, because like I said, everybody outside of the 5 draft picks under Will Dawkins are tradable. But there are guys where, in the case of Jordan Poole and even Sadiq Bey and Corey Kispert to a lesser degree, even though I do think he will be moved at some point, you have guys that, look, are right on the fringe of being all-star talent. And you have to utilize those guys, man. And that's what I'm saying, that could I see a scenario where they can move Jordan Poole? Yeah, absolutely. It's the business of the NBA. But I think you hold on to a guy like Jordan Poole. I think that Sadiq Bey, we'll see how he responds come back from injury. But look at his age. He fits, he could fit the timeline as having a guy who, every step he's been, whether it was in Detroit or in Atlanta, he's produced at a high level. So like I said, look, 2025 could be the finishing touches, especially if you're crafty in the trade deadline and in the offseason. So again, you guys get in the comment section and let me know what you guys are thinking. All right, so we're going to get into the preview for tomorrow night's game in Cleveland, the home of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, baby. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get 100 million on the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live, play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You can start with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, guys. Like I said, we went over a lot tonight, so you guys definitely get in the comment section and let me know what you guys think, man. Like I said, whether you're a pro or anti-trade, look, I think the biggest thing is this. We have options. We have not always had options, so we're heading in the right direction. We have options. We are headed in the right direction. So, all right, everybody, let's get into preview for tomorrow night's game. Now, tomorrow night, they will be in Cleveland. They're coming in with a 2-16 record, 15th in the Eastern Conference and worst record in the association. The Cleveland Cavaliers are on the other end of the spectrum. They are 18-3, first in the Eastern Conference, and they are challenging the Boston Celtics for the Eastern Conference supremacy. So looking at team leaders for the Wizards, leading the Wizards with points is 21 points a game by Jordan Poole. Jonas Valanciunas is leading the way with 7.6 rebounds per game, and Jordan Poole is leading in assists with 4.9 assists. Let's go ahead and round up the 5 assists, right? But he's only averaging 3.4 turnovers a game, so he's definitely working on preventing turnovers. So, like I said, he's put the work in, and he's playing good basketball this season. Looking at Cleveland. Leading Cleveland Cavaliers in points per game is 24.6 points by Donovan Mitchell. Rebounds is Jarrett Allen with 10.4 rebounds per game. So, that's going to definitely a matchup right there, including 2.3 offensive rebounds per game. And assists, Darius Garland averaging 6.9 and 6 per game. So looking at the injury report real quick, guys. Right now they're saying that Kyle Kuzma is day-to-day, still dealing with that rib injury. He did not play against the Bucks. So, look, his points are much needed. So, definitely want to see him get back to 100%. And then looking for him to trade. We don't want to see anybody injured. But from a trade perspective, definitely, you definitely want to see him get back on the court, not only to provide that boost offensively that we need, but for us to showcase him for a move. Tristan Vucevic is day-to-day with that knee injury. I don't see him playing anyways, so they're definitely going to take their time with him. And obviously, Sadiq Bey's out with that knee injury. They don't have a timetable for his return, but you're probably looking at the last quarter of the season, in my opinion. Looking at the Cleveland Cavaliers, D Wade, and I ain't talking about Dwayne Wade. Dean Wade, power forward. He is day-to-day with an ankle injury, so we'll see if he dresses against the Wiz. Imani Bates, a guy that I liked out of the draft. He is still out with a knee injury. He underwent orthoscopic surgery to repair a torn meniscus in his right knee. Spencer Davies of Sports Illustrated reports, and Max Strus is also out with an ankle injury. So, what are the 3 areas, the 3 keys to development, but 3 areas kind of leads to those 3 keys, and we hope to kind of sneak the sucker punch the Cleveland Cavaliers and try to get a win, because we can go ahead and get in my prediction now. We're going to lose this game. The Cleveland Cavaliers are the best team in the Eastern Conference. They're a team that could be competing for the top spot in the Eastern Conference with the Boston Celtics. So one first stat line and key development is points per game. They are first in the NBA, scoring 122 points per game. We are 25th, scoring 108. So their offense is going to roll like a stone. I'm trying to tell you right now that backcourt of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Look, Garland is that guy. He's that floor general who's going to find looks for not only Donovan Mitchell, but look, Jarrett Allen. He's going to hold the paint down. So we're going to get into the rebounds in a minute and the matchups I want to look for in that. But Evan Mobley, he's a big who can stretch the floor. So there's a team who's going to score. They like to run. They're definitely going to try to. They can just flat out score, and that's what I'm saying. When you look at the first key to development, which is defense, balanced team defense. All right, we've got to close out the shooters, man. We've got to really stick on them on the perimeter. We've got to win the battle of the paint. We're going to get into rebounds in a minute, but it kind of leads into that next point. You've got to win the battle of the rebounds. You've got to win the paint. And defensively, we look for Alex Sard to be that rim protector. And like I said, definitely, guarding Donovan Mitchell. We're probably looking at Bilal being the guy to guard Mitchell. I think that would definitely be the matchup I want to see as far as who's going to slow down Donovan Mitchell. I think Bilal's definitely going to get the assignment. But like I said, we've got to be on our P's and Q's because they are the highest scoring team in the NBA. So, like I said, we've got to have a balanced team defensive approach. All right. I already mentioned before rebound. Looking at rebound numbers, we are 25th in the NBA with 42 rebounds per game. They are 22nd in 43. So we are closer as far as rebounding numbers. And that's what I'm saying. As far as not only paint defense, we have to win the battle of rebounds. Jarrett Allen, we know what he can do, what he averages. He's averaging 10 plus rebounds a night. So you want to definitely, the matchups I'm looking for is definitely Alex R and Jonas Valanciunas. Get in there and definitely get those rebounds. Definitely want to see Alex R get more aggressive in the paint, getting those boards, especially offensive boards. He's got to work on, boxing out. He's got, that's what I'm saying. 7-1, we know you can stretch the floor offensively. He does have a lot of potential as being that rim protector, but he's got to work on that. He definitely has to work on that, in my opinion. He's got to work on playing with his back to the basket, learning how to be a center, box it out, guys. You definitely want to see him getting more and more aggressive in the paint, get those boards, man. So that would be my second key to development, win the rebound battle. All right, number 3. Looking at points against. All right, defense. They are sick. They are I can't talk tonight, y'all. They're the 16th team in allowing points, only allowing 112 points per game. We are 29th. So defensively, we give up more points than everybody else in the league except for one team. So we know defensively we have been struggling, right? This team has been struggling. We got to attack. They're 16, so they're the middle, they're kind of middle of the road as far as defense. Attack, attack, attack. Collapse those defenses. Definitely want to attack because there's a few things you can get out of that, right? One, when you collapse it, utilize those outside shooters. You want to see a good night from Keyshawn George. You want to see a good night from Corey Kispert. You want to see Bub Carrington definitely get involved, especially on the perimeter. So attack the basket. Let's try to get Jared Allen and Evan Mobley in foul trouble because that opens up other opportunities. Definitely try to bring them to the perimeter and utilize backdoor cuts. So we got to be crafty offensively. We got to be crafty. Definitely utilize players like Corey Kispert with his cutting ability. And look, when looking at Jordan Poole, I expect Jordan Poole to attack the basket. Definitely collapse that defense and let's set up Corey Kispert on the outside. If Kyle Kuzma, if he's playing, set him up on the outside. Definitely want to see Bub Carrington and Keyshawn George both, ramp it back up because they have been, kind of cold and their game has slowed down as of late. Definitely want to see both of them ramp it up because in the second half, it's all you, baby. So, like I said, guys, you get in the comment section. Let me know what your three keys to development are. So, all right, guys, we covered a lot tonight. Again, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, tune in for that game because we will be going live. Probably going to go live around 9:30. So definitely tune in for that tomorrow night. The live recap like we always do. But then again, definitely appreciate you guys rocking with your boy tonight. And like I said, we covered a lot tonight. Out of the 7 teams that have interest in Kyle Kuzma, which ones do you think are the best destinations, not only for Kuz, but what kind of return you can get in return? Lou Williams in his comments, do you agree or disagree both with his comments and my reaction to it? And definitely with the preview, what is your prediction for tomorrow's night's game? So, all right, everybody, before we roll, I'm going to let you guys know again that your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing Locked On Wizards daily newsletter, a one-stop shop for the ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free at lockedondaily.com. That's lockedondaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Wizards newsletter. All right, everybody, let's get back into this thing. All right. So, yeah, that's it, guys. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and call it a night. But we did cover a lot tonight, so definitely get in the comment section and let your boy know what you think. All right, everybody, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Hail to the Wizards and peace.